Welcome to the Daily Cyber episode 298. We've got a lot going on this week. Hopefully everyone's doing well. The cybersecurity world is pretty busy. Just so much going on with AI, compromises, technology, talking to people day in and day out about how the industry is changing, especially when you got the ransomware events. I was talking to a colleague that they said basically it's been 10x over the last probably month or 2 months, where they're seeing now 40, 50, even 100 events coming in, and people, business email commerce, network intrusions, you're looking at the ransomware events. It is being fairly hectic out there. And this is why I do Daily Cyber, is to make sure that you guys are keeping up to date on the newest trends, the newest technologies, talking to experts, asking the real hard questions, and really kind of going through what do we really need to know to protect our environment, what new technology is coming out that's going to be able to protect us, and what are experts talking about day in and day out with their customers, their colleagues, their partners at events, whatever that may be. So I'm trying to bring the best experts here so we can have the conversation, which brings me today. I'm really excited to have Yagub. He's a serial technology entrepreneur, investor, a financial strategist. He's best known as the founder and CEO of Polygraph AI, a startup focused on artificial intelligence security, data privacy, content detection, with a background in trading and financial markets dating back up to 2006. He's the founder of multiple firms, including the marketing and fintech-focused Seven Markets Group. So a lot of deep information, background, and knowledge in the different areas of the industry. So grab a coffee, grab a tea, and let's hack at it. Hey, Yagub, how you doing?
Hey, great to see you, Brandon. How are you?
I'm busy, like everyone else. I'm sure you're deep in it too. So, how's your week been so far?
Yeah, considering that I have not honestly slept the last 48 hours, I think I look good.
Amazing. The funny thing is, working in IR, when you're seeing people that've been sprinting for 24, 48, 72 hours, shirts messed, hair's up. They don't like they have the faded beard. It's not cut properly. It's not clean. Hair is all a mess. But that's our industry, right? That's our industry that you see that day in and day out. So it's exciting, right, to have you here and really see like what are you dealing with when it comes to cybersecurity? What are you seeing? So let me ask you this to start off. Like, tell us a little bit about your background, kind of where you started, and how you really got into cybersecurity.
So I'll tell the what my really friends would be telling you. My real close friends, they call me Mr. Paranoid, because each time they get a new technology of any sort and I get my hands on, if it is physical one, I'll break apart and try to see what's inside, and then give it back to them as if nothing has ever happened.
Right.
Sometimes I'll break apart and find something inside and burn it and tell them that do not ever get that thing. A good example would have been a charger out of the TechCrunch last year.
Okay.
As an example, it had a password transmission solution inside it.
Got it.
Second, if you would connect on your laptop, it would basically connect somewhere else. Very funky one. But my own story, up until I was 15 years old, I never had a computer. Okay. So I'm not gonna fake out that I come from privileged background of I was not a hacker when I was 6-year-old or whatever. I didn't even have a computer. When I was 15, I was sponsored by the U.S. State Department, and I graduated my high school in California. So that's where I first time actually had a household environment that had a computer inside. And the family that I was living with, the gentleman, Nicholas Shestopol, he was trading Japanese stocks at night.
Okay.
And he would work 5 or 6, I don't know how many works that he would do. And at night he would be like buried in his computer environment.
Looking at stocks, looking at the trading, kind of things like that, right?
You name it. Technical trading, it was his jam. May he rest in peace in a way. And he was, by the way, one of the most stingiest people I've ever met in my life, not knowing the purpose of him. His purpose was noble, and unfortunately, I got to know him afterwards. He basically donated money for children-related stuff, and that's why he was working like a mad human. So for me, I learned how to trade living with him. Furthermore, practiced it and made it even more crazier. And 2008 comes, a kid that, my family, my dad never really made more than $500-600 a month.
Right.
And 2008 comes, I make my first $1 million.
Yeah, because that market boom, right?
No,
This
this was much before anything else. There was no company, no nothing. I actually just got myself an investor. He gave me $25K, and I turned that to, at the final number, it was $1,184,000, if I remember it right. And it took end-to-end around 6-ish months. In fact, actually, at some point, it was $1.9 million. But moving on, I took that, and at that time, I've finished my high school in the US, and the program ships me back to Azerbaijan. So I'm in Azerbaijan. I'm in college, full-time working, full-time trading, full-time studying at college in a way. Above the surface, life looks really awesome. Inside, and I'm like miserable. I don't know what this sleep really means.
Right.
And I decided to drop out of college in a way. While I'm dropping out of college, I get offered a scholarship from the presidential administration of Azerbaijan. They somehow heard about my story. And I went to the Netherlands. I dropped out of the college in Azerbaijan, and a bit later I went to the Netherlands. And 3 months into my studies, I dropped out of college again in the Netherlands. And by saying drop out, I didn't submit anything to college or whatever, because otherwise they would cancel my visa and I would have to leave the country. I just stopped going to college. That was a drop out in a way. Worst case scenario, you fail your classes, and then the semesters basically follow each other. And I started my first company, Target Signals. And the reason of why I started it was just slightly earlier, I got introduced to NLPs. And I was trading, and I was seeing how much of fraud there was out there.
Right.
People faking to be professional traders, and they just swinging $1 from honest people who want to make it.
When you talk about NLP, you're talking about natural language programming, right?
Correct.
Yeah, because I mean, some people are watching that. You throw around acronyms. They're like, okay, NLP, natural, neuralistic language programming, natural language programming. What is it, right? So
it was actually we can actually touch base both of it, NLP on both directions,
right?
But initially, it was basically getting to see also Facebook opening their own APIs.
Yep.
So we could now connect to Facebook APIs and identify and build a very simple, stupid model, actually.
Right.
Would put you into a risk tolerance level based on the words that you're utilizing and so on, and connect you to a professional trader with a similar risk tolerance level as our model that was projecting you to be.
Right.
So imagine like a Robin Hood today, but on steroids.
Right.
And we would only make money if the professional trader would be making money.
Right.
And that basically would mean that you would pay us a small bit of commission, and we had a monthly basic subscription fee as well. And we got acquired in 90 days on it. It kind of like gave me the first kind of smell of the money in a way, the first smell of the understanding that you can actually build something and add value and then take the benefit out of it. The same year I was introduced to cryptos. I'm referring to 2009.
Right.
I invested, $3,000 into Bitcoin, the best investment I've ever had in my life. When it didn't even have a value. I got a very significant amount of it at that time. But all of it is basically leading to your answer. How did I get introduced to cybersecurity? In early 2018, I was hacked, and I lost all my Bitcoin.
Right.
And that number would have been over $1 billion today.
Wow.
So I lost my money first, and then I lost my hair afterwards because of the stress.
Yep.
So, but that's the honest thing around it, overall speaking. And that's why anyone following me would see that I immediately stopped talking about Bitcoin. I was a major Bitcoin promoter.
Right.
I still believe in it, but I couldn't protect myself at that time. So I stopped saying that this is a safe investment, because if I am not able to protect it with all the wealth that I had, how would I go around and like consciously, ethically, internally talk about it, that you should put your hard-earned money on it? So
now, just to briefly ask that, because I mean, so many people in the cryptocurrency era industry have been compromised, right? Wallets, exchanges, things along that line. Now, I don't know if you can share or you want to share, but is there a thing that right there you can kind of say, okay, be careful of?
So my thing was, again, my case is still not fully resolved yet.
Okay.
I have investigators and so on, so I'm not going to go deeper into it.
That's fine.
But the main thing that I'll tell is that do not connect every shit to your laptop, because then you may compromise your location, you may compromise other things, or you may get infected.
Right.
So they basically hacked into my network, they hacked into my laptop, and via that, the second I plugged in my cold wallet was hacked, etc. The game was over, and I was spiked as well. My drink was spiked. So I was targeted. This was in Cyprus, the country. So anyway, long story short, that's where my really beginning of the cybersecurity starts. Prior to that, I was already building things with my team on AI, as we call it. Let's call it ML. That way we become honest to ourselves. At that time, we weren't really calling it AI. We were calling machine learning. Yeah. So we built a model earlier that year to identify fake news under the Newsgram name. Earlier on that side, we built a completely autonomous trading sentiment solution for crypto market called iCoin Sentiment, and so on. So I was deep into the machine learning field, and 2019 comes after this incident. My company becomes a partner of OpenAI as well.
Okay.
And that's the most eye-opening thing about the AI that I saw for myself, because we started giving the OpenAI GPT-2 to multiple brokerages for them to create faster messaging, faster promotional content, and so on and so forth. And something was kind of like unsettling for me. And that unsettling part was that these brokers were sharing all their privileged information about where they are going to expand, what kind of like promotions they're going to run, what sort of benchmarks are they going after, etc. These are considered to be privileged information, and in some occasions they were also sharing client data.
So now when you're saying sharing, they're sharing in the model, correct?
Yeah, correct. They were utilizing GPT-2. That at that time it was not ChatGPT, it was GPT-2, right? And my company ended up being acquired when I got stuck in the US in 2020. After the company gets acquired, I don't have really anything to do, and I start basically trying to find myself hobby, check mark everything that I want to do. Right. And it's COVID time, you cannot really do anything, you go almost suicidal. We started basically Polygraph, officially speaking, in 2023 with the mission of helping organizations adopt and scale with AI as fast as possible without the worries of the security.
Okay.
And when you say security, it comes in like security always is somehow being treated as one-sided thing. For me, security is a 360-degree solution. As an example, my case would have probably been eliminated. I'm referring to my hacking case.
Yeah.
If I were to be able to know where I shared, where I lived,
Right.
my location, right?
So
Where did I share where I lived? So we wanted to provide that kind of like knowledge, information to the operators. And another thing that I
stop there for a second, because I mean you've got some good points here. Like, and we're covering different areas of security. You're talking about personal security, right? And creating a profile for an individual. Like, say for myself, if I post online, I'm going to this, gym, what I do day in and day out, I go to this coffee shop. You can have reconnaissance right now on me in a profile that every Monday morning Brandon goes to Starbucks, grabs a coffee in his local area. He goes to this gym, he does that. Now you can start creating a profile, a hacker's profile or a compromised profile. It's funny, I was talking to another guest and he was talking about it too. It was like physical security, personal security. And he was talking about how people can create these profiles on GPS information, what you post online, things along that line. And you can have that. Like, that's one area you're talking about, which is great. But I think, like you said, that 360, now that's on one area. Now you're talking about technical security, and like administrative security, governance security.
It's all connected, right? So,
talk about that in those sections, because I think it's important.
Let's actually address that, what you just said, right? We are having this call online.
Right.
You're using Restream, some people use Riverside and so on and so forth. They're all the same thing. Behind the scene, multiple things really are happening. These tools are AI-powered solution. One, I'm actually putting my biometrics onto it. It's my facial biometrics because of the camera, and also voice biometrics, right? Two, that's the number two. Number three, I'm also putting my contextual communication style into it. Now imagine we get to do this thing every day with Google Meet, Teams, Zoom, and so on and so forth. In that environment, the thing even goes further, and in here the same way as well, but perhaps a little lower. In that environment that we would be operating, we also give additional credentials to that AI tool.
Sure.
And I'm referring to now a meeting note taker type of tools. Right? Then we give them access to my calendar. We give them access to my email because it would be sending a notification to me, and so forth, so on and so forth. Now, based on that meeting note taker environment alone, a company basically creates 8 to 9 different attack points. In fact, actually, there was if I remember right, in late 2023, an oil and gas CEO was kidnapped in South Africa based on just email summarizer.
Right.
The attackers basically figured out what summarizer they used. They hacked into the API key of that summarizer, understood when he was landing somewhere and what was the next step that he was expecting. So they can stay with his name, to your own word.
Right.
And he just went in and sat in their car, and they drove off later on, taking $1.5 million.
100%.
So we need to, in organizational environment, it's similar case right now as well. We need to know where does the data go to. If it is an approved or secure environment, if it is not, how do I delete it, or do I have even a possibility of deleting that data? What kind of access controls do I have? Do I have any possibility of even controlling that? What sort of behavioral elements are there? And behavioral for me is actually on top of everything when it comes to AI security, because look, we are now telling every single one of our employees to move as fast as possible, but also be as secure as possible. In fact, actually, they need to be the most secure people.
Right.
And And by the way, if they are not, we will be firing them. So no stress at all. Worst case scenario, you will be fired.
Right.
So guess what? These people under stress, they don't even know what to do. They just are trying to work their time as fast as possible, and they make a lot of mistakes. If that mistake sometimes it's intentional or unintentional. In fact, I'll give you a number here, Brandon.
Yeah.
96% of the cybersecurity breaches of last year was not because of any technical failure.
Right.
It was because of human mistake.
100%.
And 26 or 28%, I don't remember the number by heart, according to IBM, of those breaches were intentional negligence.
Mhm.
So now we are talking about cybersecurity. Everyone is like, don't do this, don't do that. No one is talking about behavior, because hackers have understood that if they can hack into your cyber profile, social profile, and behavior, they can go after you. They know that you have a kid, they'll send you a toy. It's all about getting that toy to the to your internet connectivity. In fact, I've seen it happen.
Right.
They know that, I don't know, you like utilizing certain online enabled gadgets. They're gonna send that.
Mhm.
It's all about getting into your safe zone. And then find one mistake, the behavior mistake that you will make or someone else will make in your environment, that will give them the gateway.
Right.
Gateway to the paradise.
Well, it gives them an access point. I mean, I totally get what you're saying, because, and going back to what we were originally talking about, you got physical security. So, I mean, anytime you're talking about like what you're saying is like access to the environment, access to the your house, your home, whatever that may be, dropping a toy with an IoT or something that has a network connectivity that it just automatically connects, and or doesn't automatically connect. The individual configures it and connects it to the Wi-Fi network, because hey, you can now connect to your phone and be able to control it and do all that. Like, totally agree with you.
You wanna hear something even more crazier? In Colorado last year, there were the previous year, I believe it was, there were a number of home burglary cases.
Mhm.
You know how they were breaking into those homes? They were tapping into the
Wi-Fi.
No, not even Wi-Fi. They were hacking into the digital electric socket.
Okay.
And figuring out if there is actually a home security system connected to that digital electric socket. And if there was not, they would target that one. And with it, they could also identify if there was an active human being inside, because of certain things transmitting separate kind of like an electricity usage thing. So things do not really have to anymore be digital fully. Semi-digital also creates attack vectors. Now, this is a wake-up call for our CISO friends out there, that the security from the traditional point of view is no longer applicable. You need to think about, you actually use it yourself. The intelligence that you were referring to in cyber world has a name. It's called mosaic intelligence.
Okay.
Right? Mosaic intelligence is what LLMs basically make something out of nothing.
Okay.
Or out of minimum thing, right? And I'll give you an example. You can literally eliminate my name here. Don't mention my name.
Right.
And start talking about AI behavioral control, and we just talk about it. And mention about small language models, etc., and mention the founder of a startup. LLMs will have a ability to literally identify me as the name, because of there is a company that is owning the new category called AI behavioral control. They utilize secure small language model AI solutions. It's a founder. You mention location or not mention it, it's going to give you very likely polygraph on it. And who is the CEO of Polygraph? Yagub is there for that. So the intelligence no longer, or security no longer, has to be the regex level keyword protection. It needs to be contextual as well.
Right.
It needs to be we need to start treating these tools more of like a human being as well. Now there is a new terminology in the cyber world, Brandon. They call it non-human identity. I'm like, why are you even creating a non-human identity separation in there?
Right.
Call it a user overall. These are all user types, right? And assign, most of the times, I'm referring now to the agents even, assign some of these things under the user that's actually operating it, and minimum kind of policy assigned to that agent becomes the user's own kind of policy, right? Privacy policy, security policy, you name it. And then
I think the challenge to your point is this. When you have a public figure, a CEO, especially Fortune 500, Fortune 100, they're in the limelight, i.e., media, network, communication, social media, like all that. Even their families are out there, so it's this balance, right? Because again, it's not like someone that is a private citizen, is an employee, and then now they're putting information out there. The company a lot of times are putting their executives, the C-suite, out there. Marketing, board meetings, things along that line, events. They're going to conferences and speaking at conference and all that. So I think it's a balancing act, because I agree with you. Like, I know from myself talking to experts in the field, the level of investigation you get from AI right now on an individual, creating an intelligence pack or mosaic intelligence on someone now, is extremely easy. I literally have to get the first name, last name, say what company they work for, and say, okay, find out everything you can for that, and then come back and just ask it questions. And then, okay, give me a full profile intelligence. I'll find out family members, cousins, relatives, people who've passed away, like everything. I'll have a whole threat intelligence package that I can go, okay, here you go. And I think like that because that's how threat actors think. And they'll go, like you said, they'll go after grandma, they'll go after grandpa, right? Because as we know, I say there, and I'm a detective from the local police division. I need to get this information. Grandma and grandpa is probably going to give me as much information as I need because it's an authoritative figure. They have been trained to now give information to authoritative figure where.
And sometimes it works a little different as well, right? I actually have a friend here in Austin, a very well-known globally recognized CEO. And he visits his mom a few times a year. The mom lives in, if I'm not mistaken, it's around $17-18 million property.
Okay.
So he accidentally visits last year his mom, and the mom says that, "Hey son, let me not mention the name here.
Yeah.
I've done everything that you've asked me except going to the notary. I don't feel good these days to leave to the notary." And he goes like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Didn't you say that we need to transfer the property under a trust?" So the mom was being, in that example, exactly, being targeted by a deepfake in that example. And for an elderly person, barely walking, barely talking, they cannot even distinguish what's real and what's not even.
We'll get going back.
That's a complete different other part of security as well.
But going back to the NLP, like that whole thing that we're dealing with when it comes to AI technology, you can get that threat intelligence package and now use AI deep fakes and things like that to now start to compromise, a victim in multiple ways. Company, access, network, technology, cell phones, you name it. The attack vector right now for an individual is broad. Just on a CEO alone, like laptop, smart devices, smart network at home, smart network at work. Like there's so many access points now that a threat actor could start to chip away at.
100%. Like imagine the charging cable that I just mentioned.
Yeah, at an airport.
We all need a charging cable. It looks normal. Imagine you are just, someone is following you and building so-called relationship with you and being nice, and I'm using quotation mark here. Hey, your phone is running out of juice. Use my own cable. Right. Game over.
100%.
Game over. Like it's as easy as that. Or how many times we have been at the airport and we are running out of juice and there is a USB cable.
Right.
I can think of so many attack vectors out there. We are not really properly thinking. Right. And now let's put that personal to the side. We are now enabling multi-billion-dollar, trillion-dollar companies literally adopt AI tools without even understanding what are the risks that they're going for.
So let me ask you that. So we'll dive into that right now. With that being said, what are some of the AI concerns that you deal with and you talk to people? Like, what's the top 5 things? If I was a new CEO coming to you, what should I be concerned about?
So keep a list of maximum AI tools that you're utilizing.
Mm-hmm.
If we are talking about an individual, right? No company, no nothing.
No, I'm saying company. I'm a Fortune 100 company.
All right.
I'm sitting there, look, I've got 30 different locations globally, or I'm a Fortune 100, probably have 1,000 locations globally. We're talking about ChatGPT, Claude. I'm starting to integrate it. You know, we've got Zoom. I'm coming in and say, holy, all these AI tools. What am I supposed to do?
Let me tell you what we are doing at Polygraph. Instead of saying like hypothetical, this is the real example. So what we do right now for them is that we first ask, do you know what your risk is? Have you mapped your risk factors? Most of the time they're like, what do you mean by that? Right. So what we do for them is we ask them to deploy a operating system level, OS level desktop application.
Okay.
Or preferably for everybody.
Like an agent to do a scan, right?
Correct. Yeah. And what this agent does is that it real time highlights for the end user the unapproved
applications
content that they are about to submit somewhere else based on the policy that has been assigned to them. So we connect to the IAM. We connect to the IAM, and via the IAM connect to the policy assigned to this person and basically track it out. The user now gets to see the problems that they are making, the mistakes that they're making. Okay. And then we are also mapping out the entirety of the company's risk profile per application, per website, date, time, location, and failure type, and also the user on it. Within just 3 days period, we will provide that mapping to them. And now, Mr. Client, you were saying that you are only utilizing ChatGPT and Cloud, and for coding you were saying Cloud Code, but we have understood that X percentage of your operation also utilizes Cursor as an example.
Now, take a step back here, because you said that you're going to do a monitoring on the actual endpoint. Correct. To look at, kind of malicious. Are you just talking about applications? Because what I'm thinking about is I'm a security guy.
It's everything that happens on your operating system. So from applications to individual websites. So web apps today are the majority of the companies control what applications get to be deployed on their environment, right? You cannot really go randomly install an application on your device in most cases. But you can, generally speaking, find a new website that has not been mapped out on your network level security and utilize that. Or there is something that has been added in your existing tech stack. Let's say Notion has just added a new Notion AI.
Right.
So we basically give them the complete risk.
Do you have to go through scoping of what is collected and what's not?
It's up to them, to the client itself, but we can do it, or we can just go individualize. It's they can unify it, they can break it apart, they can make it per division. It's up to them.
Yeah, because the reason why I'm asking, again, putting my security hat on, any type of agent that drops onto an endpoint system and starts to monitor, my concern as an organization is, okay, what are you monitoring? Same questions you were kind of getting into. What data are you capturing? How are you capturing? Where is it stored? Is it encrypted state? Like all those security questions start to come up.
The answer is that your data never leaves your environment, by the way.
Okay, so then you have what, like a gateway or something, a local environment that does the collection?
We have two methodologies. The methodology one is the agent actually lives on the device itself.
Right.
It only basically transmits the logs of it, the application name or website name, the user ID, and the failure type. So this is one. The secondary one is that the agent, the backend of it gets to be deployed on company network, the air-gapped cloud environment or whatever it is that they're utilizing. This is mostly for those organizations that utilize VPNs. Okay. So to reduce the latency and so And in that example, again, like there is nothing coming to the company, meaning polygraph. Everything is with the client and client-owned environment. We know nothing about you.
So then they get all the data and the reporting locally in their environment. Okay.
Yeah. And that's basically our, by the way, main push overall. My word as a libertarian, I like my privacy. I like to protect my own data. That doesn't mean that I'm hiding anything malicious around. I just want to be, sovereign person of myself.
Right.
It's just the way I am, right? And for your data, we believe the same thing that needs to be happening. I should not tell you, secure your data by giving it to me.
Right.
Your data is yours, so your security should be yours, and nobody else should be handling it. So that's the answer to your last part of the question. Step one, map the risk, understand where you're failing. Step two, implement the security for those failures. Very, very, very often you get to see that companies or people are utilizing agents and so on that they were not really thinking that it would create gaps or failures. I've seen PCI compliant operators as an example, process company payment or client payment documentation utilizing cloud or ChatGPT or something else.
Right.
It's very simple. If you are operating something like that, we give you a security-enabled AI gateway. You put your base URL, take it from the original application, put it on Polygraph, create a new one, put a new one back to it. You see zero change into your productivity and everything else. 100% of the data gets to be secured and stored and protected within your own environment. Okay. So nothing leaves. The biggest one that we've done something like that was with a call center, as an example. And in about 2 days, we secured their agentic workflow, just like that. And the hard part, however, though, often comes out, people utilizing, let's say, web app-based chat tools and so on. A new tool that came out looks to be, functionality-wise, it serves to the desire of certain user type. But because that environment, you don't have application integration possibility, it's no longer a gateway that you can utilize. You cannot, the only thing that's being left in that environment is ask the company to ban that URL.
Right.
If you cannot secure it, that's the only way forward around it. Or monitor it closely, etc. But it all comes down, Brandon, the number one security necessity is actually understanding what's going on in your environment.
Visibility.
Visibility is the most important element, 100%. If we don't understand it, no matter what we think is useless.
Right.
And that has been the biggest kind of like a learning curve that we've added. We used to have it, but we weren't giving like a very visual dashboard as an example. We were like, okay, we know it and we will go tell it. And one day one of our clients was like, hey, is it possible to provide it in like the spider web level relativity comparison? And we gave it to him. He's like, this is amazing. I now understand why is it happening, the problem. And we started applying it. Everybody comes around. We didn't know that you could do that. How did you make it happen? So it turns out that most of the CISOs are just blindfolded with the noise. And the challenge is once you give them the ability to see, they're amazing people. Like I'm not going to say that CISOs are not thinking. They're thinking. They're overthinking. They just don't have the tools to see their failures.
Well, they don't have the visibility. Meaning you got SIMs, you got EDR, you got DLP, proxies, firewalls, logs, you name it, right? And cloud logs. You're inundated with information, but it's having the right information. I think what you're getting to.
100%.
So they can make the right decisions, right? And I mean I think that's key. So going back to that, so let's kind of talk about security in depth here. So you're going through that, you're going through the analysis. What's your recommendations when you finally get that report? Because there's so many layers of security. Like I think from what you're saying, you're capturing so much information about application and traffic and things along that go and user activity. What do I do next?
So on our side, what we have done is that we have 17 SLMs. These are task-specific SLMs, each one of them handling a specific set of an attack vector. So they will work in a kind of like a, call it like a swarm operation.
Okay.
So most of it will be automatically applied. As an example, you don't need to customize your prompt injection something in there. You don't need to customize your JSON validation. You don't need to customize many other elements on it. So they are just fixed, static, applied to everything that you're operating.
Okay.
The one thing that we get to fix up is that create a dynamic organizational policy. Dynamic. What I mean by saying dynamic is that each division gets a separate policy.
Sure.
You cannot say that engineering team should not post code into AI,
Okay.
but why should, as an example, support team put code to AI? As an example, you can customize all of these things. Another thing that we enable them is the data to be blocked, or we created a new methodology called the data to be redacted. Blocked and redacted are not the same thing from our perspective. Blocked means that you don't have authority to see, you don't have authority to operate in that environment. It gets to be blocked. The second there is such a data, basically the engine comes and says, I'm sorry, I didn't understand what you're saying.
Okay.
Redacted, however, on the other side means that you have the authority to see it, but you don't have the authority to transmit it.
Okay.
So in your case, you can submit, let's say you have the authority to see credit card data and social security data.
Okay.
You can place on it. Polygraph will real-time smart anonymize it, ship it to agent or chatbot, whatever it is that you are utilizing. And when the final result comes to it, you will see that social security number and credit card number normal as if it has been transmitted. And there is a button next to it saying that AI version, human version.
Okay.
You press the AI version, you will see how the AI has seen everything step by step. So transparently logging out everything for you, end user and or admin. So we enable that part. Dynamically speaking, when we go on this approach, the productivity actually shifts higher.
Right.
Because now the people are seeing their failures, what they should not be doing, and so on and so forth. Tomorrow they're actually reducing their list of failures. And that desktop overlay that I was mentioning about, it stays there forever. Once we have deployed it, we don't actually take it down.
Okay.
Why? Because now it becomes a behavioral training tool as well. The user always gets to be seeing it as real time. And within, generally speaking, 2 to 3 weeks, we see their average DLP violation go down by 70 to 78%. That's the range that we are seeing, because now the person sees it. Like imagine Grammarly, but for compliance.
Right. Well, which makes sense. I guess what I'm looking for right now is to identify as a CISO, as a C-suite person, am I getting a report, a dashboard? Like, how am I seeing?
You're seeing both the report and the dashboard. You have a custom dashboard that you can basically structure it the way that you want to see. And the system also creates a real-time JSON format reporting. You can connect it to any other reporting tool that you're utilizing as well. So you have both sides of the world. On top of it, you have a completely custom dashboard for control panel. On that environment, you can actually assign granular policy going down to each individual. Instead of saying this is a company policy, you can create like a custom policy for every division. You can create a custom policy for your team in Europe, your custom policy in the team to Texas, and another one under the CCPA in California as an example. And then you just hired a new intern. You can select and assign a more speculative, more granular, more detailed, maybe more aggressive policy for that intern as well. If that person is working in more critical environment, but his age group does not really match up with it.
Okay, well that makes sense. So going back through the process, because again, You've got an agent that goes onto basically an endpoint. The endpoint now is starting to monitor what the individual's doing. It can be department based and or globally throughout the organization. You get that, you start to monitor. Now that information now gets uploaded and or repository into a local SAN gateway, whatever that may be. You do the analysis through the I guess it's machine learning, or is it natural language programming? Like what are we talking about? Or LLM?
We don't actually utilize LLM ourselves, but there is a system that automatically utilizes the reality of the organization and gives you the suggestions real time, what policies you should be having. Okay. Or sometimes our clients, we actually see 40% of our clients, give or take, say that just show me the report and let me customize it myself.
Right.
They take that report, based on that, they create their custom policies and assign it to every user, every agent, the way that they want.
Right. So then we get the data, it goes into a system, they get a report. So now I'm looking at that report. How do I take that report and start hardening? As you know, like sometimes you're looking at, proxies, and then I'm blocking URLs. I'm enhancing my DLP now to start to block things that are leaving the environment. Talk to me about that next step.
So the next step comes mostly around contextuality. So the DLPs, generally speaking, they will fail in many of the occasions because DLPs are not very contextual.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're not configured. They're not tuned properly.
Correct. They're designed to be light and fast in a way. Light, fast, and detailed does not really come together the way it's supposed to be. So very often we get to see that the client will actually take the learning, the visibility, and create additional policies that assign to their even email operation and so on that they previously did not really see.
Right.
It all comes down, honestly speaking, how dedicated is that champion that we have in there. Right? Some people are just trying to make a checkbox onto their own operation. I don't like that, unfortunately. Security is not something that can be treated as a checkbox anymore. It's not a SOC compliance where we host the data and who uses it. It's more detailed, more granular. It's contextual that we need to think of.
Right. It makes sense. I think the main question I have right now is, so I've got the data, I've got all that information. One of the things that we were starting to talk about was kind of AI, but it doesn't sound like it's really specific about AI. It's specific about applications and user behavioral in the environment. Because I mean, when we first kind of started talking, it was kind of like we were thinking, well, it's AI, ChatGPT, Zoom AI, Teams AI. Well, things
You're
like
right or wrong on that side, by the way. You're right. The step one, the desktop overlay, is not just for AI. It's for every application.
Mm-hmm.
The following step 2 and 3 is just for your AI operation. Because what we noticed is that there is a new sort of AI utility in every different application on a daily basis coming up. Everyone is trying to adopt AI. So if you just go around and make it only for ChatGPT, this visibility, we actually fail the customer. So because of that, we made it OS level. So everything, zero integration, anything goes in and out of your operating system gets to be covered on it.
Right.
The integration that comes afterwards is only for AI activities. We provide 2 types. It's a gateway where you are operating in a gateway-related environment. Basically, you have a base URL of some sort, API that you're utilizing. You put a polygraph and assign policy on it, the user policy or corporate policy, and secure it. It gives you a new base URL, API key, put it back to where it was, and you're operating normal. The second approach is integration. Integration is, let's say, Copilot. Copilot does not really utilize an agentic base URL environment. You need to integrate into it. Or you're talking about Harvey, Legora, and so on. These are the solutions in the legal world, right? You need to integrate into them. You need to integrate, there are different kind of approaches in there that sometimes you can actually utilize a gateway approach if you have a good relationship and agreement with them. sometimes we need to find a way to integrate our API into their own API and process the data. And that's more difficult part right now. The remainder is like everything is possible once we provide an environment that the model is locally stored, locally running. Like as I was mentioning, I'm actually going to be testing something here with the DGX Sparks as well. My vision overall speaking is that the security aspect of your activities should not actually require DGX or anything else. Just CPU and RAM, run on it, apply it for every device, every application. And hopefully very soon, by the way, we'll be able to bring that no integration required security to the complete OS level activity as well. Assign the tools. In that case, we give clearances for the tools and rating priorities and the websites and the person's clearance. So with that, let the agents actually run and help you secure the data and operation based on the application that you've given them or the access controls that you've given them.
Right. Now, with that, are you saying you're trying to integrate with the application so the actual AI would actually secure it, i.e., if there's a port open or an application, it would actually block it and stop it?
Certain things that we are already doing right now, it does it. But my core vision here, Brandon, is that we should be able to do it for every single application, every single website on that device without individually integrating into it. I don't know how we are going to get there, but we'll get there.
I think there's a human in the loop aspect of it. Like I agree with automation, but I think there's still a human in the loop to approve it because, and I was talking to a colleague this morning in a business, and we're talking about there's business functions of a certain application that the AI sometimes is not aware of. Right? That would happen, right? And then it shuts down some suspicious activity because it flags or alerts. Understandable, and that's what it's supposed to do. But then all of a sudden, it shuts down a business process that's not supposed to shut down because maybe at 8 o'clock in the morning there's a spike in credit card transactions because everyone's waking up and they're now making the payments. But
the reason for it, right? Because most of the time people treat the so-called AI security as a firewall, the old school firewall, allow or deny. But if you treat it as a differentiated thing, where it is allow, proceed, deny, fix, proceed, always it's proceed. It will actually never shut down the processes. Even if there is an attack vector in there, deny, fix, deny means that you deny, you assign a fixing thing in there. Is it going to be 100% all the time? The answer is going to be not. So we still, right now, there is a thing that where we are today, and there is a thing that where we want to see 6 months, 12 months, 18 months ahead of us. And I remember we are living in the AI age. Nothing is 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. It's months related stuff. So for me, the 18 months ahead is to eliminate everything and integrations as well and make it OS level for user-facing environments. And for every agentic operation, put it in a new gateway that automatically handles it based on the authorities that has been assigned on it, access controls that has been assigned on it.
Right. And I think the concern is working with IR companies kind of doing that side. The hard part is regular traffic is what threat actors piggyback, regular applications. They're not using threat actor tools. They're using TeamViewer, RDP, which are user, company, organization, remote tools. Like they're using the application. So I think for AI, we're working towards it, but I still think there's the human in the loop for at least the next year that needs to be in to validate that it's not a false positive, false negative, that it is actually a real threat and that action should be taken.
Yeah, and I honestly speaking think that I wish that more people could think of it that way. They think that AI is kind of like, I mean, human has a human intelligence and we make, again, 96% of the mistakes, right? How dare we, honestly speaking, think that machine that we create will not make at least 50% of the mistakes.
Right.
Right? So I will never disagree with such a statement that there needs to be an additional override. Let's call it human on the loop.
Yeah.
To convert human on the loop to override element.
Right. Sure.
It doesn't always have to be human. Maybe we create a secondary revision or machine human machine revision, right? But there is always gonna be that behavioral mistake. There is always gonna be that operational mistake. Whether it's false positive, false negative, something within these lines that we need to be learning.
Yeah, no, true. So we've got 5 minutes left. Any closing thoughts?
Your listeners are people who are in cyber operations part. My thing for everyone is that, in the old times, and old times was 2 years ago, 3 years ago,
Right.
we used to be thinking about, identity control, network control, and hardware control.
Mm-hmm.
You need to start thinking more about access controls right now.
Mm-hmm.
Think about your agentic operation on what sort of accesses that you're giving it. How do you shut that access down without letting someone else run it? And think of one additional thing. I know quant is not quite here yet, but it's almost here as well. Quant computing I'm referring to.
Mm-hmm.
So think around also your chip level security, because if you just basically treat everything on a software level security, there will be something that software will glitch and the attacker will find a way to go through it. That's what Mythos is doing, by the way, right now. It's basically putting things under the pure pressure. There is always something that's cracked and it finds its way through that crack. But if you can put a security on chip level security, we ourselves announced a partnership with Intel just last week regarding utility of the TDX for chip level security and confidential compute. And in that environment, you can actually shut down the chip itself, and no attacker will be able to make it. Sure, your operation will be impacted, but it's better to be prepared than being sorry.
Well, the thing is this: you're mitigating the factors. Like to your point, if I was able to shut down the threat actor at patient 0, they're not able to move laterally. They're not able to move the environment, do any reconnaissance. They stop right there. So totally agree with you.
So that's the approach that we are taking ourselves, and please do pay attention to even your recruitment. Like, I think recruitment is one major factor that people are paying proper attention to. Everyone is cheating these days. Every single one. It's good and bad. It's good that you have people who are AI savvy.
Right.
But if you're going to be getting someone that doesn't know how to do simple tasks, and it's going to ask AI to how to do it, or Google every day what to do what, you're going to be wasting lots of time and resources on it. And if you need help, you are doing a great job yourself, Brandon. Also, we have a completely free risk management or risk assessment solution on polygraph.ai. Just get on it.
And with that point, I'll just throw in here, like, if anyone wants to get a hold of you, I've got the link, your LinkedIn page here. It's linkedin.com/IN/YRAHIMOV. Reach out. And then, like you said, totally agree with you. Here's your polygraph.ai. Reach out to Yagub and just ask lots of questions. I mean, I think the goal for me out of this is having experts.
And because of this conversation, by the way, if they mention your name directly, the first consultation will be completely free.
Well, I think the good thing is that the goal for me is to get experts like yourself that, companies, organizations can reach out to you and say, okay, look, I heard you, totally, concerned about not having visibility, not being able to understand what's going on in my environment. I need to have, some sort of monitoring tool to give me the visibility so I can start running reports, start having that data analysis that I can make some good business decisions. Like you're saying, like, what is going on? What's my staff doing? What's the team doing? What's the data flowing through my environment? What applications are being used? URLs, websites, all that. So totally online.
For me also, the last thing that I'm going to throw it here, I'm the CEO here. I'm not. I used to be the main salesperson in our company. No longer. So for me, I'm personally building relationships. Of course, I love what I'm doing. That's the day and night and every day of mine. That's happening. But very often I hear a problem that comes from a client of ours or potential prospect or whatever it is. There is always someone out there that we know it, whether it's someone on a leadership position at one of the frontier labs or someone else that has invested in them that I can get directly access to them. There is always someone that we can connect and fix the problem. And if you can do it together, happy me, happy you. Let's go make it bigger. At the end, I believe in the future of AI. Otherwise, I would not have built an AI company. I believe that the future is automated, but I also believe that automation security will not come by itself. It's a collaborative security effort that we need to put together and make our world a little better place for our children. Anyway, the current one that we live in looks very chaotic, so that we can at least lower that chaos a little down.
100%. Thank you so much. If you want to wait in the waiting room, I'll connect with you after. Thanks so much. What an amazing interview. I think we've learned like the different areas of attack vectors, things are going with AI, looking at how to, and one of the things that my takeaway is understanding the data and the environment and how we're looking at visibility in the environment. I mean, that was the biggest thing that it's a reminder for everyone is, do you have the tools in place in your environment that you can collect the right information to make the right business decisions, and you're having that visibility? I think the biggest thing for me is, working with subject matter experts, organizations like this, that you can have these tools in place so you can sit there and take that data and say, okay, what's going on in my environment? What's the risk? What's the criticality of it? What's my exposure? And then how do I make decisions to harden and secure my environment, especially with the amount of applications, AI, software, things that people are using to do day-to-day operations, their processes. We're using their standard Microsoft Office suite to new AI tools to help us be more efficient. To have that visibility to make those decisions, what should be in our environment, I think it's critical this day and age. So don't forget, software is hackable, being connected is vulnerable. I'll see you next Daily Cyber.